classrooms, students roaming around, teachers, and a huge fees to get admission. Imagine a university which is not fixed at one place, where students can study at their own ease, at their desired locations, where the curriculum is updated with the technological changes and focus on the true things which matter in life. The university which focuses on developing mindset. The university which develops skills. We are talking about the contemporary education mechanism, the virtual university. International Internship University believes in inspiring, inventing, igniting young minds, cultivating excellence in every student by enabling accessible education at their own ease through virtual internships. Virtual internships act as a gateway to a world of knowledge application that was previously held behind closed doors for the fresh graduates. The ability to meet, speak, work, and collaborate with industry professionals from a diverse range of fields, such as engineering, business management, humanitarian fields, and much more, delivers insights that the students can foster for a lifetime. It bridges the ever so glaring gap between the demands of the corporate world and the pride of academia. We invite applications for PhD, doctorate in literature, doctorate in science, LLD honors degree, experienced personnel in various rich experience in their respective fields. The program is offered only to a select group of accomplished individuals. As a professional, a degree or additional degree will allow you to make a greater impact. The expedient way of showing the world your knowledge, abilities, experience, and talents is with your degree and use of your titles.
Over to you, Meeta.
Thank you, Dr. Prachi. Hello and welcome to an amazing session, and it is aptly named Habitology. We are here for a two-day workshop on 24th and 25th, and understand the details and understand very deeply how habits are formed and how to create new habits that can be useful to us in our day-to-day life and make us successful in all spheres of our lives, whether it is physical, professional, mental, spiritual, whatever sphere we are thinking of. And to have some success, we need to have some good habits. We have lined up amazing speakers before who will be delivering a great amount of substance that can help you lead a better, successful life. But before that, I would like to thank all of you who are present here for this virtual session. It is available online all over the world through under the aegis of the International Internship University. The International Internship University, IIU, is building a better and a brighter future for all young learners and is committed to providing quality, accessible, affordable, skill-based virtual education to all the young learners all over the globe. The aim is to provide internship opportunities and research facilities. So it is my honor and a great privilege to introduce the team of IIU, the strong pillar through which the IIU has created a name for itself. So let me begin with the trustees of IIU, Ms. Roshni Lal from UK, then we have Ms. Anju Pandit. You all know about Mr. Piyush Pandit, who is the visionary founder of IIU, the man behind the success of IIU. And then we have co-founders from Australia and Indonesia, Mr. Stephen Wee and Mona Engia. The Vice Chancellor, Ms. Corina Sujdia. She'll be joining us shortly. I think by 3:30 she should be here for this session. The board members of IIU The international ambassador is Ms. Corina Suchtia from Romania. We have the country director from Croatia, Nada Ratkovic, and the accreditation director in USA, Dr. Alissa White, and President HR Training and Placement Council, and the country director of India, Dr. Prachi Gaur. Academic Global and IIU Research Center, India, we have Dr. Snigdha Kadam. She's the president of Research Center, India. Then we have country director of Indonesia, Lutfianto Yuda. I hope I pronounced that right. My apologies otherwise. Then we have the advisory board members, Dr. Pratibha Mishra, Dr. Parin Somani, Dr. Vijay Kumar Shah, Dr. T.P. Shashi Kumar, and Dr. N.D. Mathur. He's India's Research and Development Board. Professor Dr. General Ebhoria Ushiholo Charles is the continent head Africa, IIU, and Zinthia Kolayara is the IIU Europe head. Again, apologies if I pronounce that wrong. So to begin with, this is the team of IIU. We are grateful and extremely thankful for this platform that we've been given so that we get connected to lots of people where we can impact and influence other people's lives. So as trainers, educators, and coaches, I also welcome the Team India, and I'll be introducing to you all of them shortly. So Habitology. I would really love all of you if you could write in your chat box, where are you from? Are you a student? If you are a student, you are from which class? And what are your expectations from this session? Please write in the chat box and we would love to hear that. So talking of habits, what are habits? How are habits created? So all of this, is there a science behind habits? Can we actually change our habits? Is it possible to change habits that we have formed very early in our lives? So I would like to quote Mahatma Gandhi here, who said, "Your beliefs become your thoughts, and your thoughts become your words. Your words become your action, and your action becomes your habit. And habits, they become your values, and values actually determine your destiny, your success." So is it not important that we focus on our daily routine habits and deeply introspect whether they are helping us or are they obstacles in our path to success? If you're going to achieve excellence in anything, small or big, you develop the habits in little time. Excellence is not an exception. It is a prevailing attitude. And to inculcate these habits for success in our lives, what should we do? We should understand these facets. So, if you are also like me and have been plagued by these questions for yourself or someone close to you, I urge you to bring a notebook and a pen to write down ideas that resonate with you. I would also encourage you, please interact with us, write down in the chat box where you are joining from, and if you are a student, you are in which class, what are the habits that you feel that you would like to change, and any experiences that you might like to share with us. So, to begin this session, let me first introduce and invite Ms. Jyoti Daya, who is the principal of DAV. Welcome, ma'am, and good afternoon to you.
Very good afternoon to one and all present here, and good afternoon, Meeta. It's my privilege, and I'm really thankful to IIU for having me here and having a thought that I can be of some use to the very interesting topic, the untouched one so far. Thank you.
So, ma'am is a proficient, compassionate educationist with excellent communication skills. She's educationally enlightened, technologically savvy, and open to any kind of pedagogical changes to create positive and challenging learning environment. With 30 years of experience, she is passionate to promote academic, emotional, and social well-being of a student. She is recipient of many awards. Prominent among them are Shiksha Shiromani Award, Guru Dronacharya Award, Inspiring Educators Award, and Aspiring Leadership in Education. There's a long list, and I could only point out a few. Welcome, ma'am. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. A very, very interesting topic, habitology, untouched so far by almost all the visionaries which are having a great role to play in the sector of education and on other aspects of human society. If I talk about habitology, would like to have a very, very simple observation and simple explanation about this. For every individual, when we are seeing a grown-up person, we are able to judge that person about its habits, way of talking, way of walking, but we don't analyze that from where this habit has come. Let's go back and see our journey when we are born on this earth. A small child, so vulnerable, God's best gift to the parents and to this earth. That child doesn't know anything, but the child is also slowly and slowly by the parents, guided and taught certain things to follow. Whenever a child is crying, that is the indication that the child is hungry. And once the child is crying and the child gets food, mother's feed, the child's memory cells, they start talking about that symptom, that habit, that reaction. And now what happens? That every time you will see when a child is crying is indicative, when couple of months to couple of years old, that the child might be hungry, child might be wanting to have something. So that crying becomes a habit. It is an act of sharing a behavioral pattern that I want something. So from that time onwards, and when a child is entering the school, where I said couple of years, that means the child is ready to enter the school. When the child is entering the school, when we interact with the children and with the parents, we normally end up asking the parent, is your child potty trained? Now, when we are using this word that your child is potty trained means what? The child should be having the habit of being free from motion when you're starting for school from home. That is again a habit, time-bound habit. When the child is again growing up, in the morning, you have to get up, brush your teeth, take shower, get ready, freshen up, have your breakfast, pick up your bag. Your bag should be actually ready a night before. Is your uniform properly ironed? Shoes are shining, your socks are washed, you're wearing fresh clothes. You are good to go to the school. Now here, these little things which keep on getting added with age. If a 3.5-year-old child entering school little late, even the principal is going to welcome the child with a smile. Oh, my baby, how come you're late today? Oh, mama woke up you late. And the same child, when the child is in class 4, 5, 6 and growing up, and still that coming to school late becomes a habit, nobody likes it at that time. You're growing up, you really need to be on time, you need to respect time. So what is happening in this journey? That our acts, which makes our life more systematic, easy, they all start getting inculcated. And with age, what happens? They become such mature habits and part of us. The way we say good morning also is an indicative of a certain habit of ours. So this habit forming doesn't come in 1 day or 2 days. The habit formation starts from the time when we enter this world. Slowly, knowingly, unknowingly, what happens? It becomes a part of us. Homework, normal classwork, normal homework, holiday homework, projects, assignments, they all are time bound and they all teach us the value of time. And all those children who have been, groomed by the parents, groomed by the teachers to value time, they start picking up these things very fast. To greet any individual, how we are greeting an individual, it again indicates that what kind of habit have been inculcated in us. Now, from where it comes, I say it is being groomed, but biologically, our body also has got receptors. Our body helps us to, retain those habits that in which kind of habit I was appreciated and what kind of act of mine was not a welcome idea. So these filtration acts help us to develop and identify that what kind of habits should be retained by me to be appreciated by one and all, and which are the habits which were not so appreciated, which were not so liked by my fellow friends or my elders, my family members. I need to try and get rid of them. So habit is very, very scientific. Habit is directly associated with the fact that we are alive. Habit actually justifies, it proves that we are alive. We are there. So habit is not going to, be a separate part of us. It is definitely part of our persona. And
Ma'am, you are on mute by mistake.
oh, thank you very much. I'm audible now?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. So Beeta ma'am in the beginning stated a very nice quote from Mahatma Gandhi that again, yes, the habit is nothing but habit is part of us, part of me, part of you, every individual. Anything that we are doing is habit. Initially what happens, the young generation, with the modern world, we try to take certain things for granted. Late night parties, late night food, not realizing that habit is system of ours. And when we start experiencing some changes in the body, then we realize, oh my God, this is not a good habit. I need to change myself. And to change your habit is not an easy task. It is very, very difficult because we have already entered into our comfort zone. This habit means you are in a comfort zone. And even after knowing that it's not a good habit, we find it very difficult to change ourselves. If I talk about adults, grown-ups like us, everyone knows that smoking cigarette is injurious to health. There's a big, caution written on that packet, and still we see people enjoying their fags. And despite knowing that it's a bad habit. Excessive intake of alcohol. People know that it is not good, it's going to damage your liver, and still they take it. Now here, it is a clear-cut example of having addiction. Habit, the extreme level of habit formation is this addiction. So anyone who has become so used to of certain thing will find it very, very difficult to leave that habit, to get rid of. You really need to work very hard. So habit is a part of us. Habit formation is a continuous process. It's a continuous affair from the time we don't realize what habit is till the time we are here on this earth. It's a continuous process, and everyone has got certain set of unique habits which can become inspiration for others. And every individual has got certain set of habits which others and individual himself or herself should try to get rid of that at the earliest. So I think habit formation itself is a science, making everyone what we are, an evolved person. I would be quoting a last example, and it's very, very simple. We people have become very health conscious in these COVID times. Most of us have changed our habits. So here I would like to talk about myself, that what I did in these COVID times. Initially, when that COVID time started, people were enjoying about lots of pastas and pizzas and burgers at home. And Facebook was filled up with those beautiful pictures. Slowly and slowly, we started realizing that COVID time is indicating that please take care of your health. slowly and slowly, I started practicing pranayama. Morning time. Initially, I did it for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I used to find it very difficult. I used to drag myself that, oh my God, I really need to do it. But once I started doing it after 7, 8 days, I started enjoying it. And then when I started enjoying it, the duration from 10 minutes became 45 minutes. In the evening, I started walking on my terrace itself because nobody was allowed to go out. Initially, it used to be very tiring, very boring affair. And now, after like finishing up almost 2 years, 40 minutes of pranayama has become my habit. 1 hour walk has become my habit. Those pizza and pastas, I'm off those carbohydrate because I learned it through, time and whatever was shown on the electronic media also, that it's not going to help you to stay healthy. So it takes time. It takes a lot of effort. But if you are determined, then you are the best version of yourself in this world with changing habits, holding on to the best habits of yours. So habit formation for every individual, it's a great thing to happen in every individual's life. Let us get hold of it, of good habits, and help others to gain from us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daya ma'am. Thank you for such a wonderful share of your own experience through your own life. Indeed, your life is inspirational. I should also try the pranayam now. I will definitely do that. And friends, as ma'am said, that what are habits? Habits are systematic routines that we do every day that makes our lives easier, that pushes us into our comfort zone. And welcome everyone who has joined us now. And we have Corina ma'am with us, and I invite her to be our next speaker. Something about ma'am. Corina ma'am is from Romania, and she's a well-known teacher on all continents of the world. She is involved in numerous educational international projects, scientific, social, artistic, cultural, voluntary, charitable, and she has over 24 years of experience. With this rich experience, she is now the country director of International Youth Society, a committee member of EduClouds in UK, a country director of Eco Training Center in Sweden, a co-founder of Worldwide Green Project, and a founder of International Cultural Passport Project. She is board member of International Internship University and also an international ambassador. She is an activist of human rights and a peace ambassador for Romania. Amongst her many, many, many awards, let me just point out a few. She has the Global Award for Innovation in Education in 2015, Peace Award in 2020, and Best Teachers Award in January 2021. We are so honored to have you with us, ma'am, and we would love to hear your take on habit formation.
Thank you very much. She's also the Vice Chancellor of the International Internship University.
Definitely, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Prachi.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I would like to share my screen. I hope I will not keep you for long today. Can you see my screen? I will not use F5 because it's possible to happen something. So we are talking today about habits, healthy habits. And I choose today to talk about how to promote academic success by using healthy habits. Learning objectives. First of all, we have to look at our lifestyles and of course to identify the barriers that keep us from being healthy. We must learn strategies to improve our physical and emotional well-being. Identify common stressors and stress management strategies. Yes? And of course, develop personal healthy habits, goals, and steps to begin. We must start with the time, because time is a resource. Lost time, it's never found again, said Benjamin Franklin. And in the 21st century, we can discover that we feel sometimes that we don't have enough time for everything we want to do for our families, for our work, for our projects and others. But we must be a good manager of our time in order to keep everything in a good point. There are common barriers towards meeting goals, like procrastination, failure, prioritizing level of difficulty, level of commitment, self-sabotage, and giving up. The last one, it's really very important because we have to be very strong persons in order never to give up. Doesn't matter what happened in your life, because life it's sometimes rose, sometimes black, sometimes gray, but we must keep that balance between good and bad from our life. Of course, there are common stressors that can get in the way of your goals, like family arguments, and while pandemic period, we can see so many families who has different problems nowadays of communication, and not only losing a friend or family member. It's also a very, very hard point in our life. Losing your job, of course, this make you to be disappointed and sometimes to give up. Getting poor grades if you are a student, troubles with friends or different relationships from your life, being sick. And you see in the pandemic period, many people who get infected by with COVID-19 get depressed, and maybe sometimes they don't get well because of their minds, because they was thinking in a negative way, and feeling like you are not in control of your life. So many times in our life, we feel we cannot control what is happening. But we must think that it's very important to keep, as I said, that balance between good and bad, to see what is good in our life, what is bad in our life, and to be all the time positive. There are some techniques to improve physical and emotional well-being, and all of us knows those techniques. I don't know how many of us practice, because I can say I don't. Find physical activities you enjoy and do them daily, like cycling, walking, yoga, swimming, playing a sport, and many others. And there are some cardiovascular activities which we must do 3 hours in a week in order to reduce stress and feel better, to help keep a healthy weight, improves muscle strength and endurance, and increases flexibility. I was talking from start about finding that balance in self-care. And again, I cannot say I use those advices from this slide. We must set simple goals for ourselves. We must drink 8 glasses of water every day. Eat in a balanced way in order to have a healthy diet. Exercise 3 times a week, 1 hour each time, and sleep 7-8 hours daily. Unfortunately, it's not possible. Maybe 4-5 hours sometimes. It's too much. And of course, it's important to have all the time a mindfulness activity. Self-care for academic success. As you see in this picture, can you see? We start with balance, family, future, career. From those 4 words, we can take another one, life. So life, it's about those 4 words: balance, family, future, and career, to make a balance between them. If you are a worker, if you are a student, you must have a balance in your life. You must know to take a time management, and there are, as you see, some points how you can do it. It's important that never to give time to our work more than to our family. Never set up some goals which we know we never will have time to finish them. And time management is really very important in life of us. Finding balance means energy management as well, not only time management. And you can see a few points as well. Make some time weekly to do things that restore and relax you. Would be very nice. That's why I choose every weekend to be free. My weekends are for my family. My weekends are for my parents, father, and so on, and for traveling. Rarely you will see me in events or online during my weekends. Know your breaking points, know your options, make your choose. Everyone has a different idea of balance, and yes, this is very important and also very true. What I like or what means balance for me, it's not the same for my colleague, for example. There are also techniques to improve emotional well-being, and some points here: meditation, imagery, mindfulness, and deep breathing. Deep breathing is very important when you feel nervous, when you feel you cannot control something. Just take a very deep breath and you will see you will feel better. Just try. Keep learning, because learning improves overall well-being, improves our self-confidence, sense of purpose, and connection to others. Even we are teachers or students, or we are working in different fields, to be a lifelong learner, it's very important for all of us, because the world is changing, everything around us is changing, so we must change our mind, and why not our habits as well. What's your vision? Yes, it's a good question. And we must ask ourselves, what is my vision? A year from now, you may wish you had started today, said Karen Lamb. Can I say that a year from now, I will be the same person? I will have the same habits? No, I'm sure that no. Why? Because life experiences and what happened around us, people with who we are connected, change us and our habits too. And in order to set some goals, you may start with this word, SMART, which means you must be specific. You must think your goal is measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And closing thoughts, it talks work to be happier, but isn't gratifying work. The real challenge is to decide purposely what to do and then do it. Gretchen Raben. If you have any question, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your enlightening thoughts on this. And the picture with the elephant on that small ball will remain with me for some time now. And you rightly mentioned that we need to have that kind of balance and set ourselves some realistic goals in habit formation, because eventually Habits are what will create our lives and the better versions that we so aspire for. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your experience. So going forward, I'm sure most of you, like me, also have certain habits that you would like to change. So you will agree, as ma'am said, that changing a habit is very, very tough. It is very easy to pick up habits along our journey, but it is very difficult to unlearn those habits. So, because routine is powerful, the more regularly you do something, the more likely you will stick with this behavior. You probably want to have a positive habits like studying 2 hours daily, or maybe to hit the gym, or at least walk for a little while, read a book every night. So there may be so many habits. Now, Dr. Prachi has an amazing game for us right after this. But before that, I would like to take you through some NLP techniques that can help us change or transform our lives. So I would like to ask you, do you know what NLP stands for? What is NLP? NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro-linguistic programming. So as in computers, you program your apps or whatever it is to give you an outcome. Similarly, our brains work in a function in a way that the language that we speak to ourselves programs our neurons. So whatever we are saying, whether it is positive or negative to ourselves, and that is how your neurons get programmed. And eventually you have a certain kind of physiology that results in certain kind of behaviors or habits, and eventually it affects your outcomes. So simply, if we have to understand it this way, how we can use it is that if we need certain kind of outcomes, we need to change the language that we speak to ourselves, right? So the language we speak to ourselves leads to a certain kind of physiology that leads to a certain kind of behavior or a habit, which transforms into an outcome. So going backward, if you need a certain outcome, you need to change your language. This is simply explained definition of NLP. So let's talk of any habit. How do we go and do certain things? Like, we are not mindful of doing it. Like, for example, if I'm walking past the small canteen or a small break room and I smell coffee, immediately I'm drawn inwards and then I pick up a coffee without even thinking about it. Okay, how many of you cannot live with your early morning cup of tea or early morning cup of coffee? All of this is habit. So let me just talk to you about the habit loop. What is a habit loop? Habit loop is, simply put, is a cue, something that you are reminded of, something you see, something that you feel, smell. In my case, if I smell the aroma of coffee, I'm drawn towards it. So that is my cue. The cue then leads us to do that activity. And from that activity, we get certain kind of reward. Now, the reward can be in any form. It could be the pleasure, the satisfaction of having, or the freshness, or the energy that I get from that reward. So certainly, it is in the best benefit that we understand what the cue is. For me, the cue was the aroma of coffee. Okay, so simply put, it could be a trigger or it could be a reminder that leads you to do that certain kind of behavior. It could be based on, you are going towards certain area and you see that location. Oh, I must stop here and buy an ice cream. Or that time of the day, the early morning, and we need our fresh cup. Or maybe my emotional state, I'm feeling a little low, so I need a cup of tea. So that is the cue. cue that is drawing us, encouraging us, or pushing us towards doing that activity. So it is crucial, or it is very important to understand what the cue is. So how would you understand the cue? Just think about it. Just talk to yourself. Ask yourself these questions. What specific cue is there? Like, for example, if I'm addicted to my social media, I just got a notification and I opened my Instagram. And then before I know it, I have already spent 45 minutes, 1 hour on Instagram. So what was the cue? The cue was that notification that you got. So how do you know that the very start of the cue is there something you feel, that feeling, I must see it. No, it is not life-threatening or life-changing for me to see that notification. But that feeling, that urge, that something, that gratifying feeling that I have when I look at that notification, and then when I get the pleasure of seeing all those memes and little cute puppies or cupcakes on my Instagram, that takes hours for me. So that is what I need to understand. What is that cue? So once you have identified your cue, you have brought it into your conscious awareness. Conscious awareness is the key to NLP training. If you can bring it to your consciousness of something that you want to change, only then you can change it. If you are aware of how you have utilized those 45 minutes or 1 hour, only then you can change it. So maybe you want to spend some time reflecting or introspecting and come up with ideas for new routines. So the next step is to figure out what kind of reward I got from it. So going back to my coffee example, I feel fresh or energized the first thing in the morning. Right? So that is the reward I get. So maybe if it is in my office, then the reward is that I get to meet and talk to my friends for a little while. So whatever the reward is, one needs to understand the reward or the pleasure that you're getting from it and understand the positive intent. What specifically is the reward? Logically think as to what that reward could be if I changed the habit. Now ask your unconscious mind a question. Unconscious mind, your intuition, gut, or whatever you want to call it. Ask yourself a question. This is not about thinking and coming up with a perfect answer, because there are no perfect answers. This is what your intuition answers. It doesn't need to make any logical sense. It may not even answer in a word, or it could be a feeling, it could be a sense, it could even be an image. So pose this question to your subconscious mind. What is the reward I'm getting out of it? What is my intention? What is that intention that is encouraging or motivating this routine? This again brings out into your conscious awareness. Now for the reward. Understanding the reward. How did you feel? Did you feel fresh, energized? Did you feel when you saw your Instagram, what did you feel? So all this actually is in the pleasure center of your brain. It is affected by the dopamine shower. Dopamine is your feel-good hormone, right? So it is that chemical which is released in the brain that gives you that pleasure feeling. And when I look into my Instagram, that is what I feel. So that, hence your brain, it keeps repeating again and again. That is why it becomes a habit. Thus, if I can understand that this repeated behavior is going to create into a habit and I will never be able to think about it. It comes into my, unconscious, conscious brain where I'm repeatedly doing the same thing. I have to understand the reward that I'm getting. Now, to set a new routine, you will have to use this intent and reward in creating a new routine. So if you know what your new routine you want to place instead of the habit that you already have, maybe you wish to replace your coffee with coconut water or maybe a fresh juice. Associate into the cue. So when you smell that fresh aroma of coffee, it should not draw you to have coffee. It should draw you to have a juice or a glass of water or coconut water. So associating into that cue is very important, because even if I try my level best to create a new habit, every time I smell that aroma, I will still be drawn towards it. So I'll have to, for a new habit to set in, I'll have to go into this, understand this cue and relate to it. Again, my intent, the intent of whether I wanted to feel fresh or energized. So the new habit should freshen me up, should give me the energy that I so wanted. If not, you really need to figure out another routine, or the routine you have in mind will take you towards the same positive intent or reward. It would be best if you met the positive intent in some way. Next, when you have already decided what your new habit should be, set yourself a goal. And as Corina ma'am mentioned earlier, set yourself some SMART goals so that you can place this new habit and create it into your new behavior. Naturally, it should end with that reward that you wanted, that dopamine shower. It should give you that pleasure. Now, for me, setting a goal and achieving it is the biggest dopamine shower. It is the biggest pleasure shower that I get. So once you have placed a new habit in place, take my word for it, you will feel that kind of reward, that you will be able to see your life going towards the direction that you wanted. It is not easy, as everybody before me has mentioned. It is not easy. Change is not easy. It is actually easier to learn a new skill, but very difficult to unlearn an old one, because old habits already have mastery and has traveled this process. It has been in your journey. It is in your blood now. It is your autopilot or your default, as I call it. So instead of giving up when this happens, the default comes back, consider the phase that you are learning. The thing is, though, once you learn how to make a new habit and then forget, it is easier and faster to relearn the new one. Just a matter of practice. Practice and practice some more. Set yourself some goals and rinse, repeat, 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 and conditioning, reconditioning. Anchor your habits into new ones. You could, for me, I think one of the greatest things that I like to do is that I tell what I want to do, or whether it is a goal or a habit that I want to change. I have myself a buddy who can help me through it. Coaches and trainers, your teachers and mentors, they could help you. If you have any questions, we are here tomorrow as well. Please ask us whatever it is that and we have amazing coaches and trainers with us here already. With that, thank you so much. And Prachi, I can see we have lots of people on board, and why shouldn't we start the fun activity? Are you all in for a fun activity?
Yes, we are waiting.
Yes. I see some thumbs up and I see some, okay, let's see some smiles. Wonderful. So Dr. Prachi, go for it.
All right. So here you go.
Dr. Prachi, would you like to explain?
So here you are supposed to pick one card, and which will be coming up with one good activity or one good habit. Here we will be able to understand from the experts that which one to have and how. So any number if you would like to share. Any one of you would like to ask me to pick?
I think Dr. Prachi. Oh yes, now you are getting the number in the chat box.
Chat box, yes.
Okay. Too many, so I'll pick 4 for now.
Not to procrastinate.
Jyoti ma'am.
Jyoti ma'am, would you like to address this?
I would love
how not to procrastinate.
I would love to pick up another question with my birthday. 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Corina. Corina. Huh?
Yes, I would love to answer this. Adhering to a routine. Definitely, it is the key for a successful adoption of habit. It's a key thing to be the best in whatever stream, in whatever work, in whatever area you wish to be. So what is the importance of adhering to a routine? A routine helps your body to be charged all the time. You get an opportunity to give some rest to your brain cells. You get an opportunity to improve upon those areas which needs improvement or which needs the upgradation. Now let us take an example. Every day in the morning, I would quote that 9 on 10 people, they wake up with a big smile on their face that yes, a good day now, a bright morning. And then those people who stick to their routine that they have to get up in the morning, freshen up, get ready for work or get ready for school or get ready for play school, anything they wish to do. They leave home on time, they reach at their workplace on time, they carry out their activities on time. So what happens? Once the timings are over for their workplace, say for example, it is 8 to 2. After 2 p.m., you complete one part of your routine. You are good to go home to carry on your rest of the day as per the routine. So adhering to a routine is very, very nice in the best habit of yours. Now, here I would not say that all habits are good, but this habit, routine, is the key for every other habit you wish to own yourself, to make yourself better. And in case you find it difficult to adhere, at times what happens? That if somebody is being overworked at the workplace, so you don't want to follow that routine, you want a break, you want somebody to understand your pain, you want someone to tell you that, oh, you can miss this routine today. So what happens? Whenever you're adhering to a routine, it is very important that routine should get you some, rightly stated by Meeta ma'am, some reward. Some dopamine flashes need to be there. So if you are sticking to a routine which is giving you rewards, which is making you happy, which is actually giving you better results, that becomes the best habit of yours. So stick to good habits, stick to the routine, which makes you a better, successful person in whichever area, maybe a good human being. To greet someone should also become a routine and stick to it. How you greet one person with a smile, with a gratitude, makes all the difference. So adhere to a routine, be the best, develop the best of the habit, and be a good human being at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti ma'am. And all of you who have joined here, the admin is posting a Google form. At the end of this workshop tomorrow, you'll be getting yourself an ebook where all of these are detailed, and you'll keep it and you can use it later on whenever in your life. So Prachi ma'am, next number.
The next number, which is there in the chat box, is 2424. Here you go.
Networking.
Who would like to take this? I believe Manoj sir. from management.
Hi, thank you. Well, networking will play the major role. In fact, we're all doing networking frankly, in a way. But networking helps you out in a lot of places. In fact, the better network, the better connected you are, there are more probability that you'll land up getting into a good positions or a job. So networking, and it is not necessary in your area. It could be from any area where you can learn from renowned leaders, but that is also possible because of networking. So I always feel that the more platforms you share, the more you learn from speakers, the more you can connect with them, your networking will improve, and that improves your worth value every way in terms of learning and in terms of richness. Thank you.
Make networking a routine of yours. Manoj sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more numbers? Okay. 16. All right. Regular exercise. Oh. Richa ma'am.
Okay, I'll be taking this question on regular exercise because this is something which I have taken up during this pandemic. I think I really started with making small progresses. I would say in terms of taking time out of your busy schedule, very, very important. And exercise is something that keeps you positive, keeps you going on. And it really, triggers your cells, your mind, your energy. Creating a habit of exercise, I would, as mentioned by Jyoti ma'am, right in her inaugural address as well on habits, start with chunk. And chunking is my favorite word, which I use in all my addresses because it's something that builds your journey. So start exercising in small chunks. Start with a walk, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Love what you like to do for exercise. A small example which I followed is many times you can go for dancing as well, because when you dance on some music, on some song, it's a kind of an exercise given to your body. So plan your exercise in a way that you develop it into a habit. You want to do yoga, start with 5 minutes and then 10 minutes and 15 minutes and go on. And one more important thing is celebrate the success of your journey. If you're happy about it, feel that happiness that yes, you have achieved something, even if you've increased your time from 1 minute to 6 minutes and 10 minutes and then to 1 hour. So if you are running, if you're jogging, then enjoy and feel happy that yes, I have completed 1 kilometer and now I can run 5 kilometers and now I can run 6 kilometers. So that's how you succeed. Yes, there would be few days which you call as cheat days. There will be failures that you would not like to go, or you would like to procrastinate, but keep that in mind, that your spirit, your determination, that yes, you have to overcome these obstacles, these triggers in your mind that would pull you back. You have to move forward. So celebrate that happiness that yes, you're forcing yourself towards exercise. Thank you so much.
Great, Richa ma'am. I realize that my regime of pranayam and evening walk indicates that. Thank you.
And also, I think the pleasure element should be there. You should feel happy doing it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the next number which I have received here is 1111. There you go. That's really important for all the students out there. Who would like to take this? Meeta ma'am?
Sure. Spend quality time with family and friends. There are two words here. One is quality time. What does quality time mean? We are always with our friends and family, we are always there. But are we actually spending that quality time? Now, for me, the crux of spending time with anyone is, are we actually listening to them? Are we even there fully, completely, emotionally and physically with them? So I may be cooking or I may be doing some project and my child is there. So I am there with him, right? No, that is not true, because what will happen is whatever he or she is talking to me, I will never be able to understand or hear it properly and give a quality reply. I need to be there totally and completely. Even if I'm spending 15 minutes, maybe a ride in the car or maybe watching something on the TV, that complete attention is quality time. And that we need to, put it in a schedule. Okay, tomorrow we'll go out for a dinner, or tomorrow we are going out for a coffee together. So that is an amazing way of spending quality time. Schedule it in your routine. So as Corina ma'am said, that weekends is only for her family. And that is how she balances her time between her profession. She is well known all over in all the continents. So you can imagine the kind of work pressure she has, but she has that ensured in her routine, that time that she spends with her family. That's all from me, Prachi.
Well, superb answer. So, any more numbers, or shall we move to the next activity or the next speaker for now? I received one more request for 2121, and that's the last one for now.
I think, Dr. Prachi, I would take up this, helping others, because I've worked with children and with a lot of my teachers on helping others and how it comes as a habit. I did a very interesting project with visually impaired children with my students, and we found that helping others brings happiness. And helping others doesn't mean that it's all about the money or the donation that you give. Helping others is also time spent with them, time spent in listening to people, time spent in guiding them, being part of the journey of their life. It's about having a long walk, listen to a person who needs you to listen, empathize with them, and it's something that's all about developing compassion and learning, compassion and love for others. So when you help others, you get that sense of achievement, that yes, we are sending a positive vibe, we are developing a positive aura around ourselves by helping others. So I think that's a wonderful activity, a wonderful habit to develop in us. And generally it's a kind of boomerang, what you give to the society, it comes back to you. So as the love and compassion that you show towards others, the kindness that you show towards others is something which comes back to you as well. So developing a society, so helping others is a wonderful habit. And as I stated, that helping doesn't mean lending money or giving donations. It's about a lot of things, bringing happiness, smiling, looking at others and smiling and making somebody's day so happy. Listening to them, laughing with them, giving, you helping them in completing their task, small help that's required. That's, I think, is a wonderful habit that we all can develop.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Helping others is the way of attracting the same for yourself. So the kind of pleasure, the kind of satisfaction is immeasurable. With that, we'll take up this another activity, Prachi, but may I now invite Dr. Manoj Sehgal for his address?
We cannot see you, Meeta ma'am.
Okay. I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So Dr. Manoj Sehgal is currently in the 25th year of teaching and he has trained over 1 lakh students for various entrance exams, and that I'm sure is in itself a record, sir. And these exams are for entrances in the national entrance exams or abroad, for a variety of exams. And he's a mentor to Sanjeevani World School. He's visiting faculty for maths and management at SP Jain, and he's visiting faculty for mathematics at Vidya Lankar classes for IIT, and a lot of other ones. He is a TED speaker. He's a National Secretary India of Global Youth Parliament. He's Deputy Director of CWSIR, and Acharya, and a score of other awards. So we welcome you on the platform and we look forward to your address.
Thank you so much, Meeta. It was such a lovely introduction, and thanks a lot. My entire talk today is about the 5 most effective peoples. I've seen it to people who have done wonderfully well in entrances, coaching, people who have succeeded right now in life in various courses. I've been reading a lot, I've been following their success stories. So this is my 5 generalized items which I've seen. A couple of students right now who are heading Twitter. Incidentally, he's my student, who is the current head of the Twitter. And these are the habits which I've seen, which is followed by most of the leaders. So I'll just present one by one. Most of them, I think Jyoti ma'am also mentioned this in her talk, is they are very good planners. In fact, most of them plan it a day before. So, you know, when the day starts, they already a night before they plan what exactly the things which they plan to do in the entire day. It is not mandatory or compulsory that they would be able to complete all of them, but if the good planning always helps out, it is very essential that you are a very good planner. Most of the time you'll succeed. So this habit, if you inculcate, if you have it with you, there are good chances of your success. So this is, I think, the prerequisite of any leader is a good planner. Second, which I also try to follow, is a habit that they read a lot of books. I'd read one interview of Bill Gates where he reads 52 books in a year. That means he reads actually 1 book a week. And that's tremendous for a person who's supposed to be the richest person of planet Earth. And trust me, if that person has a time to read, then you and I can't complain that we are, lacking time. So if the richest person, in spite of fact earning so much wealth, does have time to read, I'm sure we can. So reading becomes important because we have such a short life that we will not be able to learn by all our mistakes. So it's very important when you follow leaders, when you look at them, see what habits they have done, and reading becomes an important factor. Now, maybe the generation now has changed, and I would like still to say I love having the newspaper or the book in my hand, but my kids would be in a different mode and they like to read on the Kindle. But as long as they're reading, it doesn't matter. So the mode is not important, but very important is that they read. That is very, very important, and you learn a lot. I mean, whatever quotes we are using today is also the fact that we have read somewhere one of the great leaders and utilize it. So reading becomes so important factor. Third, I think Richa ma'am also mentioned is health is such an important priority. We all have realized during the pandemic time that if a person is not healthy, he is not fit enough to be a leader. It's very, very important that health becomes an extreme priority. So what you eat, what you don't eat, what you try to avoid. Jyoti ma'am was also talking about the fact that the yoga comes into play. This is very important because if you're healthy, you'll be more stable, you'll be more able to take good decisions, and that helps a lot. So health becomes a utmost priority. I think it is in the top 3 of any wish list of most of the leaders. One good part, I've seen students who have done extremely well and now they're working and doing amazing job in Amazon and Deloitte, and they're heading it. Most of them have one good habit is they don't get distracted by any noises. The entire concentration is how do I do better. They're not bothered by the competition behind or who's doing what. They're looking whether they are able to succeed. See, 90% of the time we are so obsessed with what my neighbor is doing or what other person is doing that we get distracted from our own goal. But if you look at most of us, or most of the leaders who are actually leading it, they are more obsessed with how they can do better. So they don't get distracted by the criticisms or this. They are very clear that this is what they want to do. And if you're looking at all the players, if you're looking at, say, a Steve Jobs or maybe a Elon Musk, they're not bothered what will be the thought process of criticism coming in. They have a clear idea. This is what they plan to do, and this is what they've done, and this is why they're successful. So they don't get distracted by external noises, which I would say. Most of the people who do well in academics, and most of us here are in a higher position, they would also realize the person who's a topper is not bothered or obsessed with the next door neighbor, who's the other person doing, whether he's doing well in maths or science. He's more observed, checking how he can do better than what he has done in the prior examination. And the moment you are done it, you are sorted. I mean, look at sports. Look at sports as the biggest learner. I mean, you're learning what the other person may be doing well in tennis in terms of backhand or forehand or something, but he's not observed how other person's training. I always take an example of a cricketer. I admire him a very lot is Virat Kohli. I mean, look at the fact when he is on the stage, when he's performing, he's not bothered whether Rohit is performing or Dhoni is there. But when Rohit and actually comes and does well, he will be the first person to congratulate him. Just see the amount of enthusiasm he has, even when he sees Pant doing well, or even Bumrah doing well. You can see the excitement, the euphoria he has for the other players, and that is why it's very important that he was not distracted by other things. So that's a very, very important habit. And the final call. I mean, I think this is what I think Jyoti ma'am also mentioned. When you wake up and go with a smile and everything, live as this is your last day on planet Earth. The moment you do it, I'm sure the whole habits will fall into play. So that's it from my end. Thank you so much, Meeta, for having me today. Thank you, IIU. Thank you, Dr. Prachi.
Dr. Manoj sir, so beautifully put, simply put, 5 habits, and here you go, have a successful life, succinct and concise as always. And thank you so much. Thank you for being here, sir, with us. So let me remind you all that we have a Google form on the chat box. Please fill it up for your free ebook that is coming with a wealth of knowledge from all our coaches and trainers. And also, for the full benefit of this workshop, you need to be here tomorrow as well, 3 to 4, and we'll have other speakers talking on the same topic of habits, but in different ways, in different things. So be there tomorrow as well. So going next to our next speaker, a well-renowned, strong educational professional, and she's the principal of Raghav Global School in Noida, Ma'am Richa Sharma. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to Habitology Workshop with the IIU.
Good evening, Meeta.
Ma'am has a degree in education and a master's degree in English from the University of Delhi. She is a CELTA qualified teacher from the University of Cambridge and has attended leadership training programs at Harvard Graduate School of Education and Harvard University and in IIMs in Ahmedabad, apart from several lectures conducted by professors from Harvard and Stanford University. And as I said, she is currently the president of Raghav Global School in Noida. So welcome, ma'am, welcome to this platform, and we would like you to share your take on habits.
Good evening, everyone. I think I would start on keeping the 4 key issues. One is, as I mentioned, that chunking is something which is very, a very favorite word of mine. And why chunks? Because small chunks lead to big achievements. So while forming or changing our habits, we need to work on small chunks. So start with small adjustments in your life, in your routine, in your habits, and I think that will lead you to success. And stay positive about it, because the positive thought, leads to your actions, and as Meeta ma'am, you also stated that action leads to your habits, and habits leads to the values that we form. So be very positive. A simple negative thought that comes to your mind, I think I won't be able to, or I believe what others would think about me. So when you bring these thoughts, So I'm sorry to say you're half, in fact, you've lost 100% of your commitment to change your habit or to develop good habits. So stay positive. That positivity should always remain with you. And once you are committed, stick to your decisions. That's very, very important. And while you're making a decision to change your habit or to develop a good habit, I always believe in writing your journey. So write on a piece of paper, write how are you going to develop that good habit? What would be the steps that you are going to take? What obstacles would you be facing, or what would trigger from yourself, from your own behavior, that is going to hamper your success towards building good habits? So when you write it down, create a plan of success as well as failure. Write both the plans on a piece of paper, and I think you have almost half of your job. And once it's written, it's on the plan, start measuring it. When we talk about this, the SMART goals, right? So developing it also means that measure it. And when I said make small adjustments, that means when you are building and you're achieving small achievements, small successes, celebrate it, feel happy about it, that yes, I've been successfully able to do it. For example, developing a habit of reading, right? Start with 2 pages, 4 pages a day, newspaper, or maybe a small book. And then gradually you will see that you've been able to read a complete book, and then books, and then, adding more and more knowledge to yourself. Once you are celebrating this, focus on building a routine as well. What suits you? Will you be able to form that habit at a particular routine, particular time? And also, do not force yourself on building a lot of habits or making a lot of changes in your different habits. I would say that focus on one change at a time. That's what I said, chunking. Take small steps. So make a list that which habit are you going to prioritize? What is the priority of your life? So that's very, very important, on focusing one habit at a time. And most important, avoid procrastination. I know it's very difficult. At times it's your mind, and there's a fight between your heart and mind as well. The heart says we'll do it tomorrow, the mind says no, you have to succeed. But again, I said, always go back to your plan that you've written on the paper. See where you started, where you have reached. You should not move back again to the point where you started. So it's very, very important. So once you read, I think then comes the trigger point that triggers that no procrastination. You have to move on, otherwise you'll be back on the same milestone where you started. So writing and working on that plan is very, very important. And this is the reason that I always tell that write your plan, measure it, measure your journey, write your failures, because you're writing your mistakes, you're writing your failures. That means you're assessing yourself. So that self-assessment, the honest self-assessment, is very, very important, and it plays a key role in assessing that are we on the success point of changing the habit or developing this habit. So that's a take from my side, Meeta ma'am.
Thank you, Richa ma'am, and the timely reminder that not to procrastinate, because the time is now. So if you have now assessed that this habit needs to be changed, it has to be changed now. You can't procrastinate it for another day. You can't keep it in a folder and take it out sometime when you have the time, because you will never have the time to change. Thank you so much, Richa ma'am. Wonderful your thoughts. Now, we are almost running out of time, but we have a few minutes to take up some questions. So we have a very rich audience here. We would like you to please unmute and ask our panelists on what is that one habit that is niggling you and it is becoming an obstacle in your life, in your success. Go ahead. It is the right time, and such knowledgeable people we have here. Take the advantage and ask your questions.
So we have one question here.
Yes, ma'am.
We do for 21 days continuous, continuous becomes a habit.
So the question is, do you think that it takes, how many days does it take to create a new habit?
Yeah, Meeta ma'am, I'm going to take this up.
Yes.
Yes, it's rightly stated in the management as well that anything that you continue for 21 days, then it's almost develops up into
routine.
A habit. And
Yes.
of course, I am myself the experienced person, because when I read this, I've really worked on this, especially working on my health regime. So honestly speaking, I was told by my guide and my instructor that, ma'am, you need to write your fitness regime every day for 21 days, and you have to follow that routine. And honestly, everyone, I must share that after 21 days, I'd stopped writing my fitness plan, but I started working without writing. And for God's grace, it's almost more than 6 months that I'm regularly exercising now. So that was how I changed. And this is the mantra. For 21 days, you write it down, you focus on that, you have to bring your writing into action, and it works.
Beautiful. I think determination, self-determination makes a lot of difference. If you are determined to bring a change in your life, then definitely nobody can stop you. And if you are being scientific, following this 21 days regime, yes, it helps. It helped me also, from 5 minutes yoga to 45 minutes of pranayam. Yes, it definitely makes a lot of difference. Thank you.
Well, next question is, any one trick to unlearn bad habit?
Can I answer this? So based on my NLP practices, the only one trick is the way you speak to your mind, the way you speak to your subconscious is that one trick. So if you feel that this is a challenge, if you can reframe that as this is an opportunity, okay, then what happens is when you have reframed this thing into something else which is more pleasurable, you'll have pleasurable hormones in your brain, which will change your physiology and your behavior and your outcome. So what you need to, according to NLP and according to how I work with my clients, is that I try to change the way they speak to themselves. I try to show them a different way, reframe the same situation differently. And that difference is the single most trick. And let me tell you, let me also share this with you, that I have worked with people who have chronic depression, anxiety issues, suicidal people, and just that one reframing of that situation, because every situation has two coins. So it depends on where you are looking at. So you are unable to see the other side. So as a coach or a trainer, my job is to show them the other side. Reframe whatever situation it is for you, and you will definitely be able to change or unlearn your old habits. I hope I answered your question.
Beautifully answered.
I believe there are no more questions.
So if there are no more questions, I have a question for all of you who are here on this platform with us working on Habitology. Reflect and introspect. See what habits you have. How do you classify them, good or bad or in between? Do these habits empower you? Do these powers disempower you? Do you feel that they limit you, or do you feel that they free you? Make a list and introspect. Do they help you? Do they hinder you? Are they your obstacles? If you can put it out in in writing, or if you can just introspect and see for yourself, then what you have done is you have brought all of those autopilot things into your consciousness. You have brought your routine into your consciousness. And only when you are self-aware of all of these, then only you can actually proceed to change any of it. So many things that we do are not aware of what we are doing. We just do it as a routine, as a second nature to us. And with that, I would like all our panelists to share your parting thoughts for all our audience. Jyoti ma'am, can we go with you?
Oh, yes. Yes.
One-line parting advice to all
one line.
Yes.
You know, anything that is helping you to become better than what you were before, stick to that, because that is going to be your key changing habit of your life. Just stick to your habit, which is making you a better version of yourself. Thank you.
Dr. Manoj Sehgal, sir. Dr. Manoj, if you can hear us, we would like your last one-line advice to all the students here. Anyway, going ahead with Richa ma'am. Richa ma'am, are you there? I don't see Richa ma'am as well. So, Prachi, your last advice to all our students.
Well, stay tuned, stay connected, and keep practicing. That's the easy way. Don't think too much. You will reach.
Yes, that's the easy way, because practice is what is going to take you. We have Nada ma'am also. Ma'am, would you like to add something?
I was not from the beginning, but I will say one sentence. If we admit to ourselves that something is a habit for us, after all, we can success.
Definitely. So we have to make ourselves aware of our good and bad habits. We also have Dr. Kalpana Dixit, ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to add few lines here for our viewers? Dr. Kalpana Dixit? So I invite anyone who would like to add something here. Please unmute and go ahead. Here is a reminder that we are going to have more of how habits are created, the science behind it. We will have more activities, we'll have some more fun activities, and we'll have a big question and answer session. Do come armed with your questions. And until then, it's goodbye from all of us here at IIU, bringing you the workshop on Habitology, the scientific way of creating good habits for your success in your personal and professional life. Thank you everyone for joining in, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Had a wonderful time. Looking forward to hear others tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's a lot tomorrow again. So stay tuned. We all will be meeting once again tomorrow with few more new activities and with new speakers as well, to get to learn more and more and more. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Stay tuned.